Good afternoon, all. So today we'll be doing your container ships.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. So we'll do cellular containers and hatchless container vessels. So container ships basically are transporting containers, and they are basically categorized basis ship size, what kind of storage they have, what is your loading discharging facilities. So basis your size, you have large intercontainer vessels, and one of those vessels were stuck in your Swiss Ever Given because of its breadth. So you had this ULCC, which was Ever Given, one of the largest container vessels. So they have dimensions over the limits of new Panamax container vessels, which are 397 meters, breadth 56, draft 15.5, and these are Emma Musk or now your other vessels, Ever Green Lines and all, are also much bigger than this. More than 20,000 TEUs can be carried. Then you have over Panamax type container vessels which are too large to pass through Panama Canal. They have a breadth around 40 meters and stowing up to 18 rows of containers on exposed deck and up to 16 rows in cargo holds. So capacity is more than 4,000. New Panamax with breadth of 43 meters can carry from 10,000 to 14,500 TEUs. Then your Panamax container vessels are width of less than 32.25 because that's the width of Panama Canal, and they can pass through Panama Canal and store around 2,000 to 3,500 TEUs, up to 13 rows of containers, 5 tiers on exposed deck, and 11 tiers, rows and 8 tiers in the holds. Then your small feeder container vessels, which are of medium and small size up to 200, starting from 200 to 3,000. They specialize in transporting cargoes from small ports to large ports, and they vary according to the concept of general ships. So these are not profitable for large vessels, but they can be used for feeder vessels. So the feeder vessels can be multi-purpose, and they'll have cargo gear. Those ULCCs and all, they don't have cargo gear. Then basis your categorization by loading unloading facilities, then you will have ships with cargo gear. So they load less than 3,000 TEUs, and they'll have cranes like jib cranes for handling cargo. Then you will have gearless container vessels, where none of the gears is employed here, and it's always the container handling gantries are all on the jetty. Then you have hatch coverless container vessels. They don't have hatch covers in most of the regions. They are also open top container vessels. So in this type of container vessels, these don't have hatch covers, and containers stored on exposed deck are fixed by cell guides, which are installed inside holes from inner bottom to uppermost tier level, which is around your bridge deck. Advantage here is because there are no hatch covers, so reduction in work required for lashing, opening, closing of hatch covers, efficiency of cargo handling devices, all will be uh, reduced. Your requirement for
Hello.
lashing. Yeah, go ahead. Any questions here?
No, sir.
Okay. So on hatch coverless vessels, you don't have any hatch covers, so the hydraulics, the gear, the lashing, these will not be required. Now for container ship general arrangement, you can have self-sustaining feeder vessel. So your exposed hull is divided into compartments by watertight bulkheads. So you'll have collision bulkhead in the front area, and cargo holds behind that. So superstructure is normally situated above the aft peak. Structure of watertight bulkhead is extended for over 4 to 5 frames so that you can have cranes installed there. For big post-Panamax container vessels, the superstructure is located above the engine room, and it's moved one-third length of the ship to improve navigation visibility, so that your compartment can be dedicated for storage of container vessels or containers. So the midship section will be single deck, double bottom as well as double side shell. Let's come to the diagram here. So see the diagram here. So here you have your double hull, double bottom, and the container guides here. So you have your stringer plate, your shear strake here, and इसको भी enlarge और करते हैं. If you see the top area, EH is a plate here, high tensile steel of grade E. The thickness here is 25, and when it's going down, the thickness is 35. So that's your shear strake, stringer plate here, longitudinals inside with your stiffeners. That's your cell guide made of 25 EH. So you move down, you have the stringer plate here, the stringer plate here, and you have the longitudinals here, the fourth deck, fifth deck. So here your grade is reduced to D now, 10.5. Here it was 26 EH. So the thickness was here because stress is more, the maximum distance from neutral axis. Bill strake, again your thickness has increased to 25 E. So this is E grade here. Bottom shell is 24 D. Tank top is 16. Now this is your duck keel. That's E grade steel here. Cell guide here. The tank top plating. Solid plate floor longitudinally framed. And that's your cell guide. So the width of your DB is about 2 to 2.5 meters to provide sufficient space for passageway and tanks. Some vessels, the design is reduced to 1.5 so that you can increase number of containers to be loaded. But then your strength is being reduced, so accordingly you have to see. Space provided by DB is dedicated to the tanks. So your arrangement is basis number of containers you have to carry. So the framing system is longitudinal framing system because on the side and the bottom everywhere you have longitudinals and girders. So you have longitudinals and girders, make it longitudinally framing in your ship. So you have a grillage type in this to form a torsion box which resists your torsion. Let's explain what is torsion box here. So these ships are subject to torsion stresses. Torsion stresses are basically twisting stresses. So when your width of the vessel is more and this is subjected to alteration of vessel, suppose this is your tank cuttings are pretty open. So when they have a wide opening, these the cross-sectional area of container vessels are less, so they'll be subject to more torsion. So they'll have torsion box. Now because the wave is coming from here, just explain what is the twisting motion here. Now this is the head seas are coming here, so torsion stresses are not there. So you alter course by 45 degrees. So maximum torsion will come up in container vessel because they have large openings. So when you alter by 45 degrees, the water body here is pushing the vessel, twisting the vessel in this direction clockwise. The water body here is trying to restore the original position by anti-clockwise motion, so your vessel is twisting. So these are resisted by torsion boxes which are running fore and aft. So on the side view, if you have, this is the torsion boxes. These are hollow girder structures which try to resist your torsion stresses. So why the torsion stresses are more in container vessels? Now if you have a tanker here, the cross-sectional area of midship section is a full solid structure. So this can't be bent or this can't be twisted. You can't twist a box. So there is like a tanker which is closed top, you can't twist it. Bulk carrier also twisting is less as compared to container vessels because your openings are large and the cross-sectional area is quite less. So these are more subjected to twisting and hence torsion stresses. So your torsion boxes are basically these kind of hollow structures which is fitted here, the yellow structure here top, to withstand the twisting of the vessel. So the torsion boxes are counteracting the twisting of the vessel. So they fitted here. If you see here, these are fitted underneath here, underneath this deck here, underneath the deck here. So to try to resist your twisting. So they fitted here and here. These are hollow. That's the torsion box. So container ships are characteristic by large hatch openings which reduce the available width of the continuous deck plating. And longitudinal strength is provided by continuous box girder, which is a torsion box that runs full length of the hatch opening. It is formed by thick plates which are deck plate, shear strake, upper plate of longitudinal bulkhead on the second deck. They form your box-like structure or torsion box. So these plates are reinforced by flat bar stiffeners. So in modern container ships, you are using high tensile steel here, as well as for the stiffeners or longitudinal box girders to reduce their thickness. That is your torsion box here. Similarly here. Now your longitudinal hatch combings. So these are normally continuous and the members will contribute to longitudinal strength and permit reduction in main deck thickness. So when you design the combing with good continuity, the corners have to be well rounded, tapered to avoid cracking, otherwise you will have discontinuity stress. And here you can have high tensile steel. So container ships can have 2 or 3 hatch covers spanning across hatch openings, which requires arrangement of 1 or 2 longitudinal hatch girders to support inboard side of cover. Top of the longitudinal hatch girders are coincided with the top combings. So your structure is continuous or non-continuous. Now non-continuous hatch girders are preferable to avoid potential cracking problem. And elimination of hatch girders allow additional container cell and increase below deck stowage. Now we'll come to hatch corners. So these are your hatch corners. So previously the conventional hatch corner was elliptical here because if it's radius your stresses will be more, so it's elliptical here. Nowadays they are reducing the strip and with that the weight is reduced. and the cost is also reduced in the advanced versions for the hatch corners. So in case where your longitudinal combing or hatch girders are continuous, a radius should be provided to the hatch corner to reduce your high stress concentration. So the common hatch corner designs, I'll just show you what is radiused and what is elliptical. Now this is your radiused hatch corner. So this plate is known as insert plate. It requires more thickness as compared to elliptical corner, which is in the ratio 2:1. So this corner we're talking of hatch combing. So if this is radiused, then this will require an insert plate. If it is elliptical, it will not require. Below that, you have a gusset plate to, below this is a gusset plate here to counteract your discontinuity stress. This is your deck and this is your deep end beam. And this is hatch side girder. So you're connecting with gusset plate. So the circular and elliptical hatch corners with thicker plate and inserted in the main deck vane or to reduce your hatch concentration, stress concentration. Inserted plate is typically 10 to 40% thicker than surrounded main deck plating in radiused hatch corners. So hatch corners particularly important on post-Panamax vessels to avoid high warping stress from torsion load. So we have reduced this section. Now we come to transverse bulkhead. So in cargo holds, the transverse bulkhead are arranged to suit storage of containers and support both double bottom and side structure. Adequate subdivision for 40 feet container holds is commonly used. Each complete cargo hold is divided into two parts by use of pillar bulkhead, so that each part is dedicated for storage of 20 feet and 40 or to 140 feet of two 20 feet containers. So only the transverse bulkhead which limited the holes should be watertight. Structure of the bulkhead is composed by vertical frameworks and stringers. So you have stringer plates here. So these are the stringer plates here. So this is your double hull. You have stringer plates here. This is the grillage here. And that's your longitudinal bulkhead. This is your hatch side end combing. These are your beams and hatch girders will be going here. So here you have inner bottom, the non-watertight transverse bulkhead here. That the grillage formed for the containers. So increasing in the size of container ships because you have a lot of stresses, vessels are becoming bigger. So steel levels have increased plate thickness up to 85 to even 100 mm in certain cases. Higher tensile steel of yield strength exceeding 390 per millimeter square is opted in certain structural areas, which are your deck and combings. So here it is yield strength is more to reduce your steel weight and to avoid thicker platings and associated welding problems. So additional to deck and combing plates, the plates of outer bottom as well as to the bottom longitudinals are built also of high tensile steel, and the focus is on the strength against buckling in the dimensioning. So here you have the cell guides here. Then the hatch combing is here, and the container foundation is here. These are your cell guides here. So that's your cellular container vessels. Now we come to hatch coverless container vessels. Now, as your name suggests, this is hatch coverless container vessel. That means certain areas you don't have hatch cover; they are open. So these appeared in the beginning of 1990s, and they intended making cargo handling more economic. So 1993 and 94, HDW delivered 4 hatchless container vessels to Eurasia. These vessels were equipped with innovative cargo protection system. And this 2,800 2,780 TUs were the ships of the future. So here, except for 1 and 2 were utilized for DG goods. The rest had no hatch covers. So initially they had route between Europe and Far East, and the vessels were exposed to heavy rains. So the company decided to equip 3 to 7 with 12 rain-protected roofs of lightweight steel. So each rain roof rests on the transverse combing of container cell guides and secured by rapid fastening. So the combings extend in case of highest container, which in some holds amount to 12 tiers. So before and after cargo handling, the roofs have to be removed and replaced by onshore lifting gear. So the roofs constitute aerodynamic hull shape. So when your wind tunnel testing, now this kind of testing is carried out in areas which can be for your ships, can be for your aircrafts, can be for your aerodynamic cars. So when the wind is forced in that tunnel type structure, then they see where is the resistance on the structure. So this wind tunneling testing revealed the shape of the forecastle in conjunction with rain roofs and deck house. They were the design of the future because that could save fuel. The rain roofs protected not only the stored container but provided large quantities of rainwater in holes that could cause stability problems. So the owners of these open top container vessels have to use high power bilge pumps to reduce the water inside the hold. So these are open top type tankers or container vessels where your cell guides are right from the top till bottom. So you can directly put in slot. So here the guides are there, the structures here, which are fitted on deck. So you can put right from the top slot till the bottom. Here you can see another photo. So that's from the Monkey Island. And if you see these, don't have hatch covers here. So the containers can be put directly from top slot till bottom. Number 1 and 2 are for DG cargo, so they don't require these kind of hatch covers. So here at the shipyard it's being developed. So this is an ordinary container vessel which on top structures for directly putting the containers in slot. So here these are the structures on top of deck to load the containers. So these are hatch coverless container vessels. Now what are the advantages with these kind of vessels? First advantage is your weight is reduced. Therefore, your dead weight is reduced, so you can load more containers. Plus, your stability is better because your hatch cover is not there, so your stability center of gravity will not be raised. So it improves your stability. Second is elimination of hatch cover also excludes the need of opening and closing it. So your cost is reduced and the time for turnaround is also reduced. So the hatch container guides are not terminating at the hatch combing, but they are extending to the height, permissible height of the deck cargo. So here your securing of the containers is much better and lashings are not required. Number four advantage is individual vertical stacks of containers are accessible totally dependent on the independent of other stacks because you can load right from top till bottom. You don't have to open your hatch cover for removing the ones below. So in conventional containers, you had to open the hatch covers to remove your containers below it. Number five, for the maintenance part, the maintenance of hatch cover, hatch clamps, combing gasket, other securing will become unnecessary because there is no cover only. Now here is an exemption required because the hatch cover is not there. So the exemption will be required from international load lines. So on the surface, it would appear that it's impossible to operate a vessel without hatch cover because this does not allow in the load line convention. However, the wordings are exemptions are provided for features of novel kind from any of the provisions of convention, the application of which impedes research into development of these features. So here, this could not be banned because this was a feature which was R&D research done on shipping. So administration allows any exemption under this article will be communicated to IMO and the international load line exemption certificate will be issued to any ship to which your exemption has been granted. Now in the 66th session of MSC, they had put stress on these things for your hatch coverless container vessels. The procedure of the model test was made more stringent. Damage and intact stability test was made stringent. Old bilge dewatering system is a must. Fire protection requirement is a must. So storage requirements for DG goods are first, certain stringent requirements for model testing will be there. Number, which will be your wave heights in the test tank should be approximately 8.4 meter, 8.5 meters at the most unfavorable realistic wave period. Then your wind generated spray has to be simulated. Your different wave directions has to be included. Different speeds and headings of the vessel, including dead ship condition to be required. Different loading conditions to be tested. And you have to keep in mind the most unfavorable hold is the shipping seawater empty. So your tests have to be performed with unrestrained self-propelled models. Now, damage stability for open-top container vessel is similar to conventional vessels with hatch covers. That means the vessels have to comply with international rules regarding watertight subdivision and damage stability. Intact stability for open-top container vessels requires that the ships stay afloat under all conditions of hold flooding, empty, partial, loaded, or fully loaded. FSC in exposed hold must be taken into account, which is relevant case for vessel which having low stability. So fully laden vessel will maintain a positive vessel stability in all cases of open cargo holds which are completely flooded. Even though this is the last criterion which is unrealistic, it provides substantial security in case of other safety considerations. So open ships naturally allow a certain amount of water to enter the holes. So here it can be rainwater in tropical rainstorms or spray or sea washing over deck. So to avoid flooding of the containers below in the below platform, The open top ships are equipped with 200 to 300 mm high pedestals on tank top on which your bottom containers are stored. So this is the water to prevent entry into containers. Plus your ships are equipped with 3 additional independent bilge pumps which are capable of pumping the maximum hourly rate of seawater in certain seagoing conditions. The bilge system of cargo hold is independent of machinery space bilge system and located outside of the machinery space. So the IMO regulations require the maximum hourly rate of ingress of seawater in any of the open hold is determined from the model that should not exceed area of the hatch opening multiplied by 400 per hour, 400 per hour. Plus all your open cargo holds must be equipped with high bilge level alarms. So here this will prevent your water from seeping into your lowermost containers, but they cannot prevent cargo and hold containers from becoming water damaged. So even the newest container can be damaged during loading or discharge operations. So some open top container vessels have rain shelters which give a certain degree of protection to cargo. Open top ships cannot be fitted with common firefighting like CO2 because your tank top is not there. So all the gas is going to escape. So they will operate uh, with basically CO2 cannot be done. So sprinkler system or spray system is required in these open top container vessels. So firefighting system open top open holes is based on principle of containing fire at the bay of origin and damage or cooling the adjacent areas to prevent structural damage. So open top container holes are protected by a fixed water spray system which sprays water into the cargo hold from deck level downwards and able to contain a fire in container bay of origin. So spray system is subdivided with each division consisting of a ring line at the deck level around the container bay. So as per IMO, you should have at least one dedicated fire pump outside your open top container hold. Must have the capacity to serve all container bays in open top container hold simultaneously. The water spray system must be supplemented by hose supply from weather deck and minimum of 4 jets of water from hose nozzles is required. In your tankers, you have requirement of 2 jets of nozzles. In this one, there are 4 jets of nozzles. Majority of DG goods is carried on deck. Since open-top container vessels do not have separation, dangerous goods may leak into cargo holds. All containers in and over the open hold are therefore considered as loaded in the same compartment. So IMO stipulates that your DG goods which are on deck should not be carried vertically above open top container holes. So here your flexibility for operator to carry containers with DG goods is reduced. So for this reason, your open top container vessels have hold number 1 and 2 for loading your DG goods. That was your open top container vessels.
सर रेन रूफ क्या होता है उसमें आपने बताया नहीं सर रेन रूफ एग्जैक्टली होता है
रेन रूफ होता है जो ऊपर से लगाते हैं ताकि पानी का रेन का पानी नहीं है वो हर कंटेनर में से ओपन टॉप में नहीं लगाते कुछ में लगाते हैं जो ट्रॉपिकल रीजन में जाते हैं उनमें वो रेन रूफ लगाते थे जैसे हम परछत्ती लगाते हैं ना वरांडे के ऊपर में
हाँ सर हाँ
प्लास्टिक का लगा देते हैं वही चीज है
ओके वो कवर कर देते बेसिकली कंटेनर्स को।
हाँ, वो ताकि तेज, देखो ऐसा होता है ना कि आपकी बिल्ज पंप की कैपेसिटी इतनी नहीं होती कि इतनी बारिश अगर बहुत तेज आ जाए तो पानी
हाँ
फ्लड
सब
कर देगा आपका
नहीं
ऊपर।
हो पाएगा वो।
हाँ, उसको अवॉइड करने के लिए उन्होंने 3 तो पंप लगाए हैं, प्लस रेन कवर भी लगा दिए ताकि पानी एकदम टोरेंशियल रेन जो आएगी उससे अवॉइड हो जाएगा।
तो
जैसे क्लाउड बर्स्ट हो गया, अब एकदम हैवी रेन आएगी तो आपका तो होल्ड फ्लड हो जाएगा, उसको अवॉइड करने के लिए रेन रूफ लगाया। तो ये ऊपर तक चले जाते हैं आपके हैच में, हैच कवर बंद ही नहीं होते, ऊपर तक आ जाते हैं।
सर हैच कवरलेस लिखिए शायद आ जाए।
हाँ, वही हैच कवरलेस डालते हैं, फिर आएगा। हैच कवरलेस में आ रहा है, हैच कवरलेस करते हैं। चलिए ये टाइप्स में आ जाएगा ना।
टाइप में देख सकते हैं।
हाँ, टाइप्स में आ जाएगा, अलग से उन्होंने नहीं बनाया उसके ऊपर।
से ओपन हैच कवरलेस कंटेनर से बहुत कम है सर।
कम है ना, बहुत कम है।
नए वेसल्स भी जो बन रहे हैं वो उसमें हैच कवर के साथ ही बनते हैं।
वो कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स आ गई ना तो ये, लेकिन फिर भी हमारे एग्जाम में तो पूछ ही लेते हैं ना। वो प्रॉब्लम्स आ गई क्योंकि टोरेंशियल रेन्स आ गई हैं, उसको कंट्रोल करना बड़ा मुश्किल है। 3 बिल्ज पंप हैं, 2 अगर फेल कर गए तो छुट्टी हो गई, तो उसकी प्रॉब्लम्स अलग है। दूसरा क्या है कि अगर आपने डिस्चार्ज करना हो और ये पूरा स्लॉट से आपने गलत डाल दिया, सारे कंटेनर खाली करने पड़ेंगे ऊपर से नीचे तक आखिरी निकालने के, वो चक्कर हो जाता है।
हाँ सर वो तो है।
तो प्रॉब्लम है, और यही है, यही चक्कर है इन सब चक्करों का। आवाज आ रही नहीं आ रही है?
नहीं
आवाज ही
सर
नहीं आ रही।
आवाज आवाज।
और फिर ट्राई करते हैं, फिर ये एमएससी का चक्कर होता है, उसको जरा क्लोज करके फिर ओपन करते हैं, तो लॉन्चिंग दिखा रहे हैं। चलो मैं इसको बंद करके फिर से दिखाता हूँ। कई बार चालू होता है, कई बार नहीं चालू होता है, एमएससी बड़ा ठंडा हो जाता है। तो लॉ खत्म हो गया कि नहीं आप लोगों का?
लॉ सर अभी वो कितना क्लास है हम लोग अभी तो स्टार्ट हुआ था। बिल ऑफ रेटिंग आज पढ़ा है और
अब वो
कॉन्ट्रैक्ट
तो,
ऑफ ट्रीटमेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ कैरेज।
अब उसकी तो तबीयत अभी भी खराब चल रही है, चौथा हफ्ता है ना, सुजन की
हाँ
तबीयत
सर
अभी भी खराब।
तो सौजन्य सर आ नहीं रहे तो अभी लास्ट में हम लोग फेब्रवरी बैच का रिवीजन कर रहे थे क्योंकि वो आए नहीं तो कैप्टन नवीन को कैप्टन सर ने बोला कि रिवीजन कर दो फरवरी वालों का क्योंकि अगर उनको कोई डाउट
फिर
है
क्या?
कुछ पूछना उछना है तो हम लोग को तो
हाँ,
कुछ पढ़ाया नहीं। बोले कि अप्रैल और मार्च वालों को पढ़ाएंगे हम नेक्स्ट मतलब इस मंथ से मतलब।
कौन कैप्टन भाभा पढ़ाएंगे?
नहीं नहीं अभी कैप्टन नवीन ही पढ़ा रहे थे लेकिन फिर जब वो बोल रहे कि कैप्टन सौजन ने शायद नेक्स्ट वीक शायद या कुछ दिनों में शायद पढ़ाना स्टार्ट करेंगे बोलते रहे।
अभी रिकवर करने में स्टेज आएगी और उसमें रिकवरी में बड़ा मुश्किल होगा।
रिकवरी में सर कम से कम 15 से 20 दिन इवन मंथ लग रहा है सर लोगों को। डिपेंड कर रहा है कि कितना
क्योंकि
सीवियरली।
दूसरा हमारा एक फैकल्टी है वो ऑक्सीजन सपोर्ट पे है, वो भी बेचारा हॉस्पिटलाइज है। उसको भी 15 दिन, वो रजत को हो गया है।
बहुत
उसको भी
बुरा है सर।
तीसरा हफ्ता चल ऑक्सीजन सपोर्ट पे चल रहा है वो।
होपफुली
बड़ा
जल्दी ठीक हो।
मुश्किलें सबकी आ रही, क्या करें।
बच के रहिए सर, कुछ 15-20 दिन की बात और है, चीजें ठीक हो जाएंगी।
हाँ वही है, अब यही चक्कर है, अब अंदर ही बैठे हैं हम तो, बाहर नहीं निकल रहे हैं। चलो मैं ही बोलता हूँ यार, ये साउंड वाउंड नहीं आ रहा, इसकी बात करें, देखो क्या है इसमें, आवाज तो आ ही नहीं रही है, पता नहीं चक्कर क्या है। एमएसटी का बहुत चक्कर रहता है, कभी आता है कभी नहीं आता। ये छोटे जहाज है जो मिडशिप अकोमोडेशन थी, एंड ये देखो बाकी जहाजेज आ रहे हैं। अभी जाना था, हमने भी डिले कर दिया, वैक्सीनेशन भी नहीं लगाया, हमने सोचा बाद में लगाया, थोड़ा ठंडा हो जाए तो वैक्सीन में कराएं।
हाँ सर, कोविशील्ड लगाया ना आपको तो 45 से 56
नहीं,
के बीच में लगा सकते हो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं।
कोविड शील्ड नहीं लगाए, कोवैक्सीन बेटर है, कोविड शील्ड नहीं,
तो आपने
कोवैक्सीन।
अच्छा फर्स्ट डोज लगाया कि नहीं आपको?
नहीं कुछ नहीं लगाया, तो लगाई किधर, गए ही नहीं कहीं।
हाँ, नहीं तो कोवैक्सीन सही है फर्स्ट डोज मतलब।
वही सही है, वो डेड
हाँ
वैक्सीन लगाते हैं वो बेटर है, कोविड शील्ड तो बाहर की बनी हुई है ना।
हाँ, वो भी है और
कोवैक्सीन
डेड भी है, और वो एटीन्यूएटेड कोरोना वायरस ही है तो उसके वो ज़्यादा इफेक्टिव रहेगा इसमें।
हाँ वही वही ज्यादा है, दैट विल बी फॉर ऑल योर वेरिएंट्स, अदरवाइज कोविशील्ड वेरिएंट के चक्कर में आती ही नहीं है, काम नहीं होता।
हाँ, ये बोला ना डबल म्यूटेंट, और उसको ये ब्राजीलियन
हाँ
वेरिएंट को न्यूट्रलाइज कर दिया था कोवैक्सीन कोवैक्सीन ने।
कोवैक्सीन करते हैं, कोवैक्सीन नहीं किया। चलो फिर आप लोग छुट्टी कर देते हैं, ये वीडियो वीडियो बाद में दिखाते हैं। ठीक है, अब आप
ओके।
लोग छुट्टी करो,
ओके सर। ओके
काम
सर।
करो, बाय बाय करो।
ठीक
ठीक है, ओके देन।
है। थैंक यू। गुड नाइट।
ओके जी।